Winter is finally coming to an end, and I'm sure if you haven't done so already, you will very shortly be thinking about summer holidays and summer breaks. So that you have a stress-free lead up to your holiday and that you don't break the bank when you go on holiday and come back, check out and stay around for the great tips that I have for you that you should do before you book your holiday. Hi guys, it's Bláithín here from A Style of Living, and today I want to talk about holidays. It's finally getting warmer here and the evenings are getting brighter, and I am thinking big time towards the summer holidays this year. We are helping ourselves to go to Tenerife. It's a all-inclusive holiday that we booked late last year, so fingers crossed that works out. But if you're considering your holiday, what to do, where to go, and all that fun stuff. First, I've got some brilliant tips that are going to save you time, money, stress, the whole lot, so that you can really actually enjoy the lead up to your holiday and the holiday itself and have no worries when you come back. Well, except those that come with work, life, responsibility, but no holiday worries. So, I've got my list here as usual. And the most important thing, the first thing to check before you book a holiday is to check all of the family's passports. Check that they're in date, up to date, the whole lot. And really what you need to be checking is that they will be still at least 6 months within date as of your return date. So for example, if your passport is due to expire, we'll say on the 24th of December, your last potential fly date is the 23rd of June, and that would be your return flight home if you are taking a flight. Airlines can be really funny, and do always check with airlines and or kind of like airport security for any kind of, I don't want to say obscure countries, but just if you're going somewhere that might have a slightly different policy. But generally a good rule of thumb is that your passport should always be at least 6 months till its expiration date on the day you fly. And another important passport to check is if you travel with your pets, obviously make sure that their passports are up to date as well. So the majority of people plan their holidays about 6 to 12 months before they go. And so it's impossible to know what the weather conditions are going to be like specifically when you travel. But obviously, you know, you can check if it is their rainy season or their hurricane season, or if it's their spring or summer or winter or fall or whatever the season might be. So to eliminate those kind of undesirable weather fronts or times that you might not necessarily be going for. For example, if you want to go on a ski holiday and you book it for high summer in the location you're going to, you're going to have no snow. So like little practical things like that. Just because it's winter for you doesn't necessarily mean it's winter for wherever you're going, and vice versa for summer. Before you book your accommodation, it is a really kind of clever or important trick is to narrow down the accommodation you're interested in, whether that be hotels, apartments, Airbnb, you know, rentals, camping, whatever the case may be, and contact the your shortlist to see if any of them have any construction planned specifically at their property, or if they have any construction planned or know of any construction that's planned sort of in the area as well. The last thing you want to do is arrive on your lovely 2-week vacation to be woken up by builders at 6 a.m. every morning. When you're sort of asking those questions about construction as well, it's also a really good idea to ask sort of if any of the activities or amenities at the property or that come with the kind of advertised holiday, if they will be closed during your proposed visit. You know the way sort of like some of the larger hotels or resorts will kind of close aspects or areas depending on the time of year. So when it's like the off season, if they have, for example, like 5 heated swimming pools, they might close 4 of them and just keep 1 open. Things like that would obviously have an impact on your holiday. Or you might be booking a particular resort because it has an amazing kids club or, you know, entertainment in the evening, only for you to arrive and discover that it's not actually on for the period that you're going for. One of the things that, if we're going on a holiday to a resort and we're staying in the one location, like the one hotel or apartments for the duration of our stay, James and I will often go for the all-inclusive package if they offer one at the venue. We find that this is definitely cheaper to drink and eat in the all-inclusive package than it would be to sort of like pay the hotel per meal. It is generally much more expensive to pay per meal at a hotel, specifically family-run hotels, than it would be if you got either the all-inclusive package or if you go to eat in the restaurants and sort of eateries that would be in the area. Now, obviously, if your resort or hotel or property is sort of like on its own and there's not a huge amount around it, you can kind of, well, not be sure, but generally speaking, the prices will be slightly higher because you're kind of trapped in the area. So definitely kind of like consider those things when you're choosing a hotel, especially if it's isolated. Initially, it might seem like a really big investment for your holiday, but in the long run, it can save you a lot of money. So when we think of summer holidays and budgets for our summer holidays, it's kind of obvious to most people that the big kind of budget items or things to kind of think about are things like travel and your accommodation and food and drink. So generally speaking, we always kind of like put aside or know what we're going to be spending in those areas, particularly for travel and accommodation, because you will have spent those before you even go. Food and drink can be a little bit sort of innocuous, especially if you don't go for an all-inclusive package. But there are other kind of like hidden costs associated with holidays that you should always consider when you're putting together your holiday budget. And they include things like excursions, treats, and tips. And then other sort of like hidden costs that don't necessarily apply to everybody or every holiday, but more often than not do. So things like your new wardrobe, the new clothes and accessories and shoes and stuff that you're going to buy, possibly new luggage depending on the condition of your own, things like toiletries, books and magazines. And one that can hit sort of people, or some people, are of course like pet sitters or house sitters. If you've got somebody to come in, check your house, collect your posts and stuff. Now obviously if you have a very kind friend or family member who does that for you, you're in a win-win. But if not, you may actually have to hire somebody to come around and do those things. So that's a hidden cost that's associated with your holiday that you should include in your holiday budget as well. So I mentioned before, some people might have to spring for new luggage. So something important to do sort of before you book your holiday or as you're booking is to check the condition of your luggage, and also to check the size of it against any kind of like luggage policy your chosen air carrier or sort of travel companion might have. If you've got like a super sized suitcase, but you're only allowed like 15 kg in your travel, or if you intend on taking your baggage onto the aircraft with you, make sure that it fits with their guidelines. Consider your travel dates carefully. So some people might be restricted to travel during certain periods because either they have kids and they can only go during school holidays, or because of work commitments or the type of position they have, maybe you can't travel at specific times of the year. But if you want to avoid sort of crowds or kids or a lot of people, check to see, you know, what's considered the off season for those that you're trying to avoid. So For example, if you don't have a small family or a young family and you'd prefer sort of a more kind of adult type holiday, there are adult specific resorts. Or just don't travel during school holidays and you will largely avoid kids and young families that way. If you want a less busy flight and a less busy airport, a great tip is to actually fly in the evening or at night time. Now obviously there are some inconveniences that come with this, like that you will most likely arrive at your destination at night, and that can cause slight difficulties with maybe traveling forward travel onto your hotel or accommodation. But generally if you travel in the evening, you end up with an emptier airport, fewer queues at the security checkpoint, less people in duty free, and the flights do tend to be emptier, so you'll have a little bit more room and probably may have an aisle or a row to yourself, which is always really nice. If you have a pet, make sure that the pet sitter or your preferred pet sitter is available, or at least that you have a pet sitting option for your proposed travel dates. There's absolutely no point in booking this amazing holiday and then realizing that you have nobody to look after your cats and dogs and you have to cancel. There's nothing worse than that. So read some reviews and articles about the area and the locations that you're going for, and specifically try and find some travel bloggers who've actually been to the resorts or areas or properties that you're going to go and stay at or visit. These will give you great personal insights and ideas and tips of what to do and what to avoid, particularly the travel bloggers, because more often than not, they've actually been there themselves. So they might even have full itineraries of great things for you to do, or top tips on how to save money in the area as well. As opposed to more general kind of like travel articles can certainly be useful, but there's nothing like getting first-hand experience for somebody who's actually been there and done that. So I really hope you enjoyed my 11 tips on what to do before you book your holiday. As I mentioned, I'm really hoping that we get to go to Tenerife. We've kind of a few things up in the air as to why we potentially won't be able to go. My husband is currently doing his master's and he is in the midst of his dissertation, so we will see how that goes. We did, when we were booking our holiday, because we knew that this was a possibility, we can actually cancel our holiday up until 4 days before we travel and lose no money. Now we did have to pay a little bit extra for that, but we felt, or we would have to pay a little bit extra for that when we pay, but we felt that that was well worth it to have that option. So there's a bonus tip for you. So if you're in similar circumstances and would really like to go on holidays but might not be able to make it swing but might be able to, that's a great way of getting a great deal for a great holiday. But if you had to cancel, you wouldn't lose anything. So I really hope you enjoyed these. Please do give us a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below where you're hoping to go on holidays. I always love to drool over gorgeous holiday destinations. Please do subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I will be back next week with another great video. Thanks guys, bye!